All right, well, now for more on the elections ahead of the vote tomorrow, please welcome former Labour Party Knesset member and author of The War of Return, Einat Wilf, and Binyamin Lachkar, the head of the Likud French headquarters. All right, thanks so much for coming in. Now, starting with voter apathy, what do you think the actual turnout is going to be here, and how will it affect the results?
I actually do think it's going to be higher than expected, but the campaign now is heated, and even though this is it's a remarkable election. Never in Israel's history did we have elections one after the other. It's true that people are tired, people are annoyed, but people also have a sense that this is a crucial election, and I do think there's going to be a high voter turnout. We also need to know that in Israel, the numbers tend to be a bit not clear, because in Israel you cannot have proxy voting. People who are not physically in the state of Israel cannot vote. So Israelis who study abroad, who live abroad, they're also counted. So actually Israel's voter turnout...
They're counted in the poll.
They're counted as part of the citizens.
Sure.
So for example, when it says it's 65%, in reality it's more like 80%.
Yeah,
so Israel
like
has
a 10%
exactly.
So let's talk about who's going to form a coalition here. Who do you think will be given the first opportunity to form a coalition? Are we talking blue and white or Likud?
Well, I hope it depends on the results of the election, and I hope that the Prime Minister Binyamin Netanyahu will get the right to constitute the new government. We really need people to go out and to vote. Sadly, I know that many Israelis are going to be abroad tomorrow because September is close to the festivals and many people take vacations, and we are going to lose a lot of votes. So really, it's going to be the main question, what you asked, how many people are going to vote tomorrow? It's going to decide the results.
Well, so, speaking of those results, some of these smaller parties,
Otzma Yehudit is an example.
Otzma being, the prime example, are kind of really on the border of getting into the electoral threshold, and if they do, that could drastically change the results. So what do you think, what do you predict in the end will happen?
Well, the thing is that on the right, you only have Otzma Yehudit in danger of not crossing the threshold.
On the left,
you have two parties. You have both Labor and the Democratic Union. So in some ways, you could say that the left has less of a leeway than you have in the right. The right has more leeway. It can afford. The left in the last elections actually optimized the votes. Basically, all the parties that were too small didn't run. All the parties passed the threshold. This is not a secure outcome this time. So in terms of the margins on parties, the right has a bit more of a secure margin, but you're right that there are at least three parties in danger of not getting in.
It's just, when I think about the fact that Labor has been estimated to be only have 5 seats, just unprecedented. I mean, we know that from the last elections, but let's talk about Lieberman, who has obviously played a big role in these elections. He wants a unity government. Is there any chance that that will happen?
I hope not. I mean, we need to punish him for what he did in these elections. I hope we're going to have a majority of the right, at least 61 seats for the right-wing parties, and we can build a new government, a new right-wing government. But if we can't, and we have a unity government, I personally hope that Lieberman will not be part of his government. His cynicism, the way he uses politics for his own gain, and he throws to new elections billions of shekels for these elections that we really didn't need. He really needs to be punished.
What is your take?
Well, first of all, the reason we have new elections is because Netanyahu did something unprecedented. It's not Lieberman, it's Netanyahu. He refused to give back the mandate to form a government. No other prime minister has ever done that. Although this is still legal, it is borderline unconstitutional. He basically was telling the voting public, if I'm not prime minister, no one is prime minister. And this is a very problematic message. Lieberman has he has a sense of the moment. The vast majority of Israelis want a unity government, and they want a secular unity government. Even if it's a one-time government, they feel that such a government can make quite a few changes that will be irreversible. In a previous such government, we had a change in daylight savings. It's a small thing. It took decades to change, but once it's changed, it's a done deal. It's not going to be rolled back. So this is what the vast majority of Israelis want. The president of Israel has a much more active role to play, depending on the outcome. So yes, it is a possibility, and it is what most Israelis want.
Okay, so that kind of brings us to this question, which may seem basic, but people are still trying to figure this out right now.
Well,
what are the major differences between Likud and blue and white?
And I
here?
don't think it's that basic, because with blue and white, you have multiple parties with differing viewpoints.
Well, we have in fact, the feeling that the two parties are very close, but it's not true at all. In fact, there are very big differences. The first one is on the judiciary system. We want a reform, we want to bring back democracy. Israel is not real democracy today because of the strength of the judiciary system. We don't have check and balances today, and we need to restore check and balances. That's the first point. In economics, the Likud is a liberal party, liberal in the European meaning of the word. We want free economics, we want free markets, and they are not really on the same side.
Einat, would you like to contribute just because we're running out of time?
So, first of all, this is a myth about the power of the judiciary in Israel, but generally, both Likud and Blue and White are large parties. It means they have a wide range of views. Broadly speaking, Blue and White is a nicer version of the Likud. They're centrist parties. Blue and White is about being centrist. It's about being what we call in Hebrew mamlachti, statesman-like, looking at the interests in the state. It's not corrupt. And I think this is what a lot of Israelis want. They don't want a big change in policy. They want a big change in tone and in behavior.
All right. Thank you both so much for joining us.